In-person early voting begins this week, and some voters may still have some questions about where do they need to go? What do they need to bring? So tonight we're joined by Charlie Collicut with the Guilford County Board of Elections to make sure that you are prepared before you head to the polls. All right, so let's talk about it. When do the polls open for early voting?
Yeah, early voting starts Thursday the 12th, 8 a.m.
All right, and so early voting is a little different than the regular general election voting. You don't go to the polling place that is on your voter registration card. So kind of let's talk about where the primary voting places are.
Yeah, you're right. That's different. You're not necessarily going to that one place on election day on Tuesday, March 3rd. There's 10 places across the county, and if you're a Guilford County resident, you can go to any of those 10 locations. You do have to do this within your own county of registration, but we have 10 places throughout the county that they're on our website. I know you'll put them out there eventually, various places across the county, and any voters can go to any of those 10 sites during this early voting period that starts Thursday and goes all the way until February 28th.
Okay, so early voting is kind of like its own animal. It's at different voting places than what you normally have. Again, it stops before the primary day. The primary day is March 3rd. On March 3rd, the polling places change.
That's right. On March 3rd, Tuesday, those 10 early voting sites are no longer. You got to go to one of the 165 election day polling places that's assigned to you. It'll be on your card. It's on the voter lookup tool that we've talked about before. You can call our office and figure it out, but you'll go to a place a little bit closer to your house on that day.
All right, so what do we need to bring to either early voting or when we vote on primary day?
Yeah, most voters, if you're already registered, whether it's early voting or election day, all you're going to have to do is come yourself and bring your photo ID, driver's license, some student IDs, military ID, passport, things like that. Most people are going to have a driver's license and you'll be fine.
All right, and so that is everybody. Everybody is going to be asked for their photo ID to say who they are. Now, primaries are a little different than the general election, and I say that because you're either going to vote for Democratic candidates or you're going to vote for Republican candidates. You're not going to vote for both, and that really comes into play with folks who are registered unaffiliated. So kind of explain that process.
Yeah, this is the primary. So each party is whittling down their candidates that'll face off in November. So Democrats are going to only vote for Democratic slated candidates, Republicans only for Republican slated candidates. But then unaffiliateds, what do? They can choose one or the other, not both. They can't cross between. But if you're unaffiliated, which a lot of voters in this county and state are, you'll go in and you'll get the option. Do you want to vote on the Democratic slate or the Republican slate? It doesn't bind you for anything for the future. It's just a one-time thing for this primary election.
Right, and in the general election, you get to vote for everybody. Doesn't make a difference, just like everybody gets to vote for everybody. It's just for the primaries in our state.
That's right. And this is for North Carolina folks. Whatever you do in the primary does not bind you at all to how you must vote when you get to November, the general.
Okay, and the breakdown of like Democrats, Republicans, unaffiliated, I know those like are changing rapidly. Kind of where are we?
Yeah, the way that people are registered does change all the time, and every county is a little bit different. But in Guilford County, we do have more Democrats. Just over 50% of our Guilford County folks, registered voters, are Democrat, followed by the unaffiliateds, who make up a little bit more of the populace than Republicans, and then we do have some Green Party and some Libertarians registered as well.
I know some people will say, hey, what happens when I vote early voting? Does that mean that they count my vote ahead of time and then they'll know who's ahead in the polls and who's not?
That's a great question. You cast your vote ahead of time, but all the votes are held, and we don't know any of the results. Everything is sealed, and then on election night, we then tabulate those results for the first time, just like we're doing with the absentee by mail ballot and the election night returns.
If people don't know where they are, whether they are registered, sometimes I think people think, I think I registered. Oh, I can't find that thing. I haven't been at the polls in a while. Where do they go to look for that?
There is a great tool on the State Board of Elections website. We link to it as well, but if you just Google the North Carolina State Board of Elections, they have an excellent voter lookup tool that will tell you your registration status. It'll show you your voter history. It'll tell you your sample ballot, what are your districts, where do you go vote, the address of that place. It's a really great tool that I encourage all voters to check out.
Yeah, I think another key thing that you said is it gives you a sample ballot. I think with so many redistricting and things of that nature, you might not know what district you're still in and who is representing your district. So the sample ballot is really helpful.
Oh, it's great. You're right. There's redistricting, and there's just a lot of different overlays of the districts, whether it's U.S. Congress, State House, State Senate, school board, your county commissioners. Depending on where you live, you can have a totally different slate of candidates than somebody else that you may talk to or that may live across town. So look that up, and you can know exactly who what slate of candidates you're going to be seeing when you go to vote.
All right, we thank you for your time and your expertise. We know that it's going to start getting really busy for you. Remember, primary election day is March the 3rd. Early voting starts this week. If you missed any of this, this will be in the Who Wants to Know section of our website.